I cannot recall what I spent with the $5,000, but I do remember the Frisbee. This is how I bought a $5,000 Frisbee. After college, I didn't find myself living my dreams. I was barely living. I just existed to pay off student loans and credit card debt. I found myself working a number of jobs that weren't at all satisfying. I found myself further and further away from the life I'd envisioned as a teenager. My days weren't filled with excitement and world-changing work. They were filled with endless consumption, debt, and enough what-if statements to fill a book of their own. I got a job in banking and progressed in a career, and my salary grew along with it. I went from working a job cleaning toilets and serving drinks to one as an executive who made decisions in the boardroom 7.5 years later. I lived in an apartment in Silicon Valley with a walk-in closet that was the size of a room I once shared with my 2 brothers. I owned 2 cars, a bike, a closet filled with clothes, and shelves of unused gadgets. I appeared to be the model of success. But underneath, it was a much different story. I was professionally successful, but personally unsatisfied. I was income stable, but financially inept. I was the poster child for bad financial decision-making. I paid hundreds of dollars in overdraft penalties and fees for non-sufficient funds. I racked up tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt. I had student loans. I consolidated and reconsolidated unsecured credit. I took out loans from my 401k. I used IRA money to pay for monthly expenses. Even on a 6-figure salary, I lived paycheck to paycheck. I was dissatisfied. I was unhappy. I was out of control. Money was the obstacle to my dreams. I came from a place of fear and scarcity. I chased money as the solution to my problems and believed my ability to spend corresponded with control. After one financial mistake and more bad decisions, I no longer dreamed of a better life. I had become indebted to something I had mindlessly created. I needed a change. I immersed myself in financial education. I learned how to budget and pay off debt. I paid off over $40,000 in unsecured debt and $15,000 in student loans. I learned how to save money and invest for my retirement. I felt on top of my game. I was free of consumer debt. I had an emergency fund as well as vacation and holiday club savings. I was contributing to my 401k and Roth IRAs. I was investing through my company's employee stock purchase program and buying stocks through my brokerage accounts. I had achieved financial success and set financial goals. But without a sense of purpose, I returned to my old ways, mindlessly consuming and obsessively complaining. All the how-to seminars, blogs, books, and apps helped me to achieve goals, but they didn't go far enough. They didn't help me to uncover the real why behind my desire for financial freedom. It no longer mattered that I was debt-free or that my savings had increased exponentially. I had reached a point at which I was yearning for something different. I had all this financial knowledge, but I didn't know how to apply it to living a purposeful life. Society told me I was successful, but my doctor told me I was stressed. After 3 years as a successful executive, I became determined to gain this financial freedom. I declined job offers that came with a larger salary, and instead of pursuing the path to succeed the CEO, I resigned. In January 2012, I made a decision that started a journey that altered the trajectory of my life. For as long as I could remember, I had followed a specific path that society states is the way to happiness and success. Graduate high school, make money, finish college, get a job, buy a car, get promoted, own a home, and somewhere in between find the love of my life, start a family, and begin planning for retirement. Even though I went off track sometimes, I forced myself back on this path. Eventually, I realized that I wasn't getting any happier, but instead growing more and more dissatisfied. I had no control over my life, and my financial situation mimicked that lack of control. I began asking others about happiness and was repeatedly told to continue on the path. "You seem entitled," they said. They wanted me to accept that if I just continued as I was, I could retire in my 70s and become happy after that. I refused to accept the idea that I needed to work 45 more years to, hopefully, live the dreams I once had as a teenager. I sold or donated everything I owned and paid off what I owed.